Alright, tell me about your family background. Where and when were you born?
I was born in Cheverly, Maryland on September 16th, 1953.
Can you describe the town to me?
Where I was born or where I lived?
Where you live? Where you lived?
Where I lived, it's a old-fashioned town. Just neighbors knew everybody. Everybody was friendly. It wasn't, when the street lights came on, it was time to go in. It's not like it is now. It's not a big city. It was a family-oriented town.
And what about where your parents grew up at?
I don't know. My father grew up in Riverdale, and it's the same thing. It was a really old-fashioned town, older homes, big family. I don't know where my mother grew up. I want to say Landover Hills, but I'm not sure.
So were you guys close as a family? Like, describe your relationships with others.
My brother and I were really close. My oldest sister is my half sister, and we were pretty close. I wasn't real close with my sister that was next to me. She was older than me, and we just never really hung out together.
So what did you guys do in your spare time as young kids?
Rode bikes, built forts in the woods, played outside. It wasn't like we didn't have computers and cell phones and video games.
Yeah. So I know you said the town was small. Did you guys? I know you were talking. We never really had a whole lot of money. Is that the case? Like your economics?
We were comfortable growing up. My father was the one that worked. My mother had a part-time job, but he did all the finances. We didn't get extravagant gifts. Christmas time was a big deal, but other than that, it was pay the bills and had a nice house and cars.
Speaking of that, can you describe y'all's traditions for holidays and birthdays?
Birthdays weren't really a big deal. We'd get a cake and a couple presents. Christmas, I do remember that back then we put the tree up, but it was never decorated until Christmas Eve when Santa came and did it. And then when we get up in the morning, all our presents would be in piles under the tree.
Okay. Can you describe like your duties as like chores as young children? Did you do anything to help around the house?
My sister and I had to do dishes every night. One night I would wash and she would dry, and then we'd switch. We had to keep our rooms clean. We didn't really have to do like vacuuming and dusting and stuff. My mother did all that. I don't know if my brother ever had to do anything. Maybe cut grass, I don't know.
Yeah. Alright, I guess we'll move on to your teenage years. Can you describe all your some of the members of your family as you got older? Did relationships change? Did you guys change as people?
Not really. From the beginning, my oldest sister didn't live with us, and then the next sister got married and moved out. It was just me and my brother, and we kind of ran the household. I took care of him, and he took care of me, and it was usually just the two of us. Whatever we did together.
Okay. Did your role as a family member change when you grew up?
No, I still, up until I got left home and got married, it stayed the same. It was, my brother joined the service, the Marines, and he left, and then I got married and had kids.
So, what school did you go to? I know, did you go to the same school as you grew up?
I went to 3 different schools. I went to Berwyn Heights Elementary, and then I went to Greenbelt Middle School, they called it, and then I went to, oh goodness, Parkdale High.
So,
Same 3 schools my whole life.
specifically high school, can you describe the atmosphere there?
It wasn't anything like it is today. It was, kids were friendly. If they had any beefs, there'd be a fist fight every once in a while. But for the most part, it was nice. Nobody got to drive to school. Everybody had to take a bus or car rider. It was different than it is now.
So, did you have any, did you like a certain subject better than others?
No, I did. I liked home ec. They had that back when I was in school.
They quit that right before.
Yeah, but that was my favorite subject. I learned a lot.
Yeah, can you tell us what they taught you in home ec a little bit?
Cooking, sewing. That was my favorite part. Sewing. Just your basic how to run a household.
Okay. Were you given any advice on dating or close friendships?
No. It's just I learned it from on my own. Never really. I dated one guy and then I married him. So.
That's typically how it was. Did you hold any jobs as a teenager? So,
No, not until well after I was married.
So basically, your job was just to help around the house?
Yes. Back then, teenagers, it was hard for them to get a job. Not many teenagers worked.
Okay. We're going to move on to adulthood since you talked about getting married. When did you meet your first husband?
1967, 68, somewhere around in there. And then we got married in 69. I had my first child.
And how did you guys meet?
We met, my parents belonged to the Elks Lodge, and of course we spent a lot of time there, and I met him. He was working in the kitchen at the time, and I met him there.
Okay. And you had a kid. Can you describe that kid for me?
It was a girl. Just, it was hard at first because I was young, didn't know what I was doing. But as the years went by, it got easier and wasn't so bad. She grew up to have 9 kids of her own, so, you know.
And her name?
Sherry.
Alright. And I understand you guys got a divorce, so tell me about when you met Papa.
It wasn't too long after well, actually it was before the divorce. He lived in the same apartment complex, or his friend lived in the same apartment complex I did. And I was friends with his friend. And we were all getting together, and I met him through him. And then we started dating, and...
Okay, and when do you know what year this was?
I'm going to say 1979.
Can you describe your relationship with your kids when they were younger?
Oh, I hope they loved me. I loved them. They were my life. They still are. Best thing I ever did in life was have kids and grandkids.
You had 6. You want to tell me their names?
Kids?
Yeah.
Sherry, Dawn, David, William, and Angela.
So who did the majority of the work? Who brought in the financial income in the house?
My husband.
Okay, until you got a job recently.
Well, I've worked jobs over the years, but for the past 10 years, I've been working with the school board, and I love it.
Okay. And as for his income, how did he bring that in?
He was an electrician.
Still is.
Still is. At one point, he owned his own business, but now he's working for someone else.
Okay. What were your ongoing interests as an adult? Middle age.
Hobbies or?
Like hobbies. What did you do in your free time? Just describe that.
I used to read a lot. Now I just like to sew and do crafts. Don't have a lot of time with working during the day.
We're gonna move on to the historical events in your life. You're gonna tell me about that. Excuse me. Did Kennedy's assassination have an impact on like your thought process or how you raised your kids?
The only thing I remember, I was in elementary school. I was in 6th grade in elementary school, and I remember coming home, and my mother was crying, and I'd asked what happened, and she explained to me that he had been shot and killed. And I guess that was my first experience with how cruel the world could be. I knew it upset every adult I knew. They were all traumatized.
Did that have an impact on how you went about your life, how you raised kids or taught lessons?
No, not really. Like I said, it was just my first experience with a real tragedy, and it left an imprint.
All right. What about 9/11? What impact did that have on you? I mean, that was more recent history.
Yes, and that did leave an impact, because now not only is the world afraid of everything, but I guess I worry a lot more about my family getting hurt by these crazy people that want to hurt the U.S. So I worry constantly about them and how it will affect them in the future.
And did that seem to change if you have any political or religious beliefs?
No, not really. I don't get into politics a lot. I don't understand it, so I don't really participate, and I'm still on the fence about whether there really is a God or not.
Okay. So lastly, we're going to move on to the bigger picture. Describe what gave you the greatest satisfaction in life. I think you already.
My kids and my grandkids.
And how did they do that?
Just by being everything that I expected them to be. They continue to strive and make good choices, and hopefully will make this world a better place.
Okay. And describe how things have changed since you were little. You've already hinted on that too.
Oh, it's changed a lot. Like I said, there's more fear in the world. There's more violence, a lot more violence. There's a lot of drug abuse. None of these things existed when I was young. So having to watch kids nowadays do it is traumatizing, to say the least. I worry about what's going to happen with my great-grandkids.
Okay. All right. I think that's all I have. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.